Right. So what I wanted to do here, we just kind of started 3D modeling. So this is kind of my 3D modeling part two. We drew our shapes. We got them all great. We got familiar with some of the commands. But what we were having trouble with in the lab was just getting turning some of those models on putting them on paper. And this could just be because the computers need an update, or we didn't all figure it out. We all were having the issues at the same time, and I wasn't because mine hasn't had to do a daily update. So let me walk through what I figured out. And so I think we can get this dialed in. And so what I'm going to do is I think I have control over one of these computers here. I do, right? So I'm just going to try to log in, open up CAD from this computer, different than mine, and see if I can get it to the print to, anyway, for my models to show up on my prints the way I'm expecting. So I'm gonna log in here. I'm gonna say my password. So I'm gonna log into this. I'm just logging into one of our lab computers here. Um, so this might be a little, I don't know if this is gonna be super blurry or not. We'll see. So when you log in on our desktop here, we've got oh yeah, I'm just gonna open up CAD here. Through the whole problem. I'm just gonna try to get it to give me this error and have to download this. And maybe I'll pause while some of this downloads because what's happened is it's just what I'm needing AutoCAD to do is kind of take on some of the functionality of Inventor. And so both programs are loaded on this computer. I can't say that that has to be the way, but so let me just open this up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my 3D file here and kind of see the errors that you guys were seeing in class, and let's just walk through kind of fixing them here maybe. So what I'm going to do is open up. Oh, this will be interesting. I don't re well, let's see here. It's going to be so I'll draw one simple. I'll do a quick little uh I'll do a quick little just one drawing on an AutoCAD 3D template here. So I don't have access right now if I'm logging into this computer. I don't have access to my template file, but either way, if I'd open up my template file, um, and then I've got my 3D space that's opened up now. I know it's going to be blurry and kind of ugly. All I'm going to do is quickly just put some. So in order to get your 3D functionality showing, right, there's a few things I need to make sure are loaded. It looks like, you guys probably deal with this all the time now, that your workspace doesn't stay staved as far as like being able to turn it on here, like mine does. So just remember that this workspace, I need to change it to 3D modeling. 3D basics is a little too basic. We want the full features of 3D modeling. We're not going to use them all, but this is the program that I'm going to run. Ribbon menus, 3D modeling. In order to draw anything in 3D modeling, I definitely want to make sure that I turn on my 3D object snaps in model space. So I'm going to turn those on. It's this one right here. I'm going to additionally turn them on. I'm going to make sure that maybe I like these three and maybe even perpendicular selected. So I'm just going to leave on those snaps. So I leave on my 3D snaps and I leave on my 2D snaps, which this one has not that much selected. This might be default that you guys deal with too, that I would turn on some of these. I'm not going to need tangent or maybe geometric centers though. Sure. Okay. So I got my snaps on. Let's do just a quick, I'll just do something that could use a top, front, and right side view. So maybe this wedge. I'll do a wedge shape here on just this profile here. So I'll just do like a 4x2 wedge. Sure. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. Just give myself something that's about 6 inches tall. Okay, there's my wedge. Got my 3D object. Now let's see here. So what we were having trouble is what I should be able to use that is kind of like properties of Inventor that CAD will accept is this little on my home tab, clear over the right base view. So the other thing I'm going to do is on my template, I would have a B size sheet. On here, we just have our viewports. These are like default viewports. So I'm not gonna use the viewports to do this command. So you can actually go into your whatever layout we have, because like I said, I wouldn't be starting from scratch here. Um, I would want to be starting from my layers that I already have established and just turn my thing on to a 3D I don't need to really create a new 3D template. I can just change it into a 3D template. And so I would have like, I'm going to delete one, but it wouldn't matter if I have multiple up two as well. But I just don't need the viewports. I'd leave everything else, leave the title block, the border as your normal layout would have. I just don't need a viewport to do this kind of drawing. But I have a model, and then when you guys would go to click here, I just want to bring this. What I'm doing is I'm selecting. I could have a bunch of models like we do in our 3D example assignment. We have a bunch of models here to choose from. So if I'm gonna push one of these to a drawing, I kind of do that for model space, and I should be able to select which model I want to put on a drawing. And so this is kind of where we were having issues. I have all, I only have one model here, but on your particular assignment, you have a bunch of different models to choose from. And so from model space, you can choose which one to send to Paperspace. If you do what I'm going to do from Paperspace, if you're on the layout, and of course, the home tab looks the same and it has this way to place a base view, it's going to bring in everything from model space. So you're not able to like select. I think it's just everything in model space is going to come in. So if I only have one object or if I have one assembly that I want to put on a drawing, well, then this will work to bring it in here. But if I have a bunch of models or different parts on an assembly and I want to make a individualized print for it, I do that from model space here. And so I come in here with the base view. I come to this base and I click it, and it's going to be like from model space or from Inventor. Well, we're not dealing with Inventor yet, but we're going to actually bring it in from model space. So it says model space. And then I think we've been getting this big error here, right? It's been like churning away and it does this. It's going to be like, well, I got to actually like set up kind of almost like a plugin. It's got to like do a little update to CAD to accept this kind of functionality that's more common in Inventor. So then it's like a 3.9 gig thing. And so I think this is churning away right here, right? And I'm going to say install it. And then this is going to churn away. I'm going to push pause while this goes. I've just got to wait for this to go completely. I got to wait for this to completely load here. So I will just, okay. So I should be back here. Let's restart my video. So it just finished, and then it goes to this little thing that we're used to saying, yeah, go ahead and restart. Normally, when you would do an update like this, yeah, it would be pretty common that a software package would need to restart your computer. But what we've noticed is when we say, yeah, go ahead and restart, shut everything down, restart it, it acts like it needs to re-download it again for some reason. I don't know. So what I did is I just said, well, not now. I want to just use it right now. And so I just hit not now. But then it just goes to this, which says you can now use the model documentation feature for this file type. Oh, so it's like, okay, so it seems to have worked. I don't, and that's just kind of against intuition, is that usually a software will need to be restarted in order for that functionality to work. Well, you don't here for some reason. And it could just be the nature of our programs as well. It probably is. It's just the nature of your computer always, I don't know. The way IT has a hold of your computer affects it for sure, and it gets wiped every night. And so, mine doesn't have this issue. Once I've done mine once, and if you do this to your home computer, you probably can restart it, and it'll probably be just fine, and never have to. It'll just be that interoperability will be enabled, and because I never have to worry about it. I think I did it once on my home computer, and I haven't had to worry about it again. So I kind of forget that when I come around to it again. So I'm just gonna say exit. And we have now this should work for me how I'm expecting it. And so what it does from model space to enter an object into drawing space, we're just going to pick base. And then it should say what objects. Okay, cool. I want this object. I could choose them all. I could choose a handful of objects. I could choose one. I could choose them all. But I really just wanted to do one of your objects onto a drawing, just because we're drafters and everything needs to go on a PDF or drawing, right? So it's not good enough just to model it. We got to take it to the next step. We got to make documentation. So here we go. Let's see. Select objects. Yes. Hit enter or right click. Specify the base point. This is not what I should expect should happen. Maybe I do have to do one restart on this thing, and then because it should right now at the next thing it should ask me is it should ask me what layout I want to go to, and that didn't ask me correct. So let me do one thing. I'm gonna do a restart on this machine and see if it works, because I'm still not getting the response that I should get. This should go from model space. This shouldn't churn away too long. This should actually come pretty quick. It should come to a select object. Once I select my object, I should say enter. And, oh yeah, okay. So this did actually, okay. I don't know why. Bear with me and bear with the program if acts weird for a minute. Because now this is what should come up. Instead of a specified base point and go back to a coordinate dialog box, it should say, yeah, like which layout do you want to put this on? And right now I only have one down below, and maybe on, what I did my 3D models on was my B size layout. So I really only had one to choose from here. So once it went to this next step, it's just like, yeah, I want it to go on to layout one. And so I hit enter, and then it like takes you to layout one with your object here in its front view. So front view was kind of determined on that model space. So we can go back and look at that, but that's the way I drew this in model space. This was the front view of it. So that's able to be changed. And yes, we can manipulate it. It's always better to pre-plan ahead and get it correct, but it is manipulatable, or you can manipulate it at this level too. The long story is short. It's going to want to drop kind of what we call a parent view, the parent view, the front view. It's pretty standard parent, right? We've just kind of drawn that way ourselves as drafters anyway. It's like our really important view, good details, most stability, all the jazz of a front view. So in this case, you would just click it, just left click to place it. And then it usually brings up this dialog box. You don't have to worry about getting all of these things right away. You can go through here and go through each one of these. The main ones we'll probably go through are I can fix the orientation if it didn't come in right there, actually. I can change to either show hidden lines or not. I can change the scale, so how big it is on my drawing can be changed right here, right off the bat with the first view. And then the visibility, I think, is where it's either, I think, well, I don't use the visibility too much, and then move and exit. Okay, so I think the ones I use mostly to get my stuff is usually hidden lines, because when it says hidden lines, it really is whether it's going to show hidden lines, whether it's going to be shaded, or whether it's just going to be like solids, kind of an isometric view. We wouldn't want to show hidden lines. So in this drop-down list, if you select it, you get these whether you're showing visible lines, visible and hidden lines, or just shaded with visible lines. Sorry, let me go back into there, or shaded with visible and hidden lines. So, normally for our front right and top views, we might just do visible and hidden lines, and we wouldn't want it to be shaded. It's not very common to shade views anyway, unless there's a specific reason for it. But for general purposes, we don't usually do shaded views. Even shaded isometrics are kind of not very common, unless your company wants you to do that. But because we can do it pretty easily with a click of a button here. So the one that I show as an example, I actually did click it, kind of like it would be more for an isometric, but it's shaded with visible lines. And so that's actually, I think, what I selected when I showed my example on the assignment on Canvas. Doesn't really matter if you get all this right, though, in that, because you can always go back to that dialog box and adjust the views later. So it's not critical that you get that totally dialed in. Sometimes you can just place the view, say, oh, yeah, cool, enter. This is where I want to place it. Because the next step after you hit enter, or you just like, yeah, once that menu comes up, so you left click to place it where you want it to be on your drawing first. And then that menu comes up and you can just hit enter. And you'll be in here to where you can place your other views. And it's just going to want to place the views in orthographic projection. So, and it will do those isometric views too. So I have all this control over which views do I want to place. Well, here's 90-degree perpendicular to it here, or yeah, will be the top view. So I can just click my left click button and it'll drop that view. And then I can just I'm still in the command until I hit escape or enter. It's just going to let me continue to place whatever views I think I need to detail for this part. And so here would be maybe the right side view, right? And then I can just kind of project up this way. And you notice it's not really counting the actual angle that I'm projecting at. It's just taking it, anyway, maybe it's a 30, I think it's probably a 30-degree projection angle, just default. So there's maybe the isometric view of it. So I'll left click there and it will still allow me to place views. All I have to do is hit enter or right click and those views are now placed. So, and so then I just want to go over a little bit of this. So that, the most part of this video is my part 2 here is just to show you that yes, our computers we'll be able to drop these views. If we don't start until next week, I'm okay with that. But so I can change the assignments to say, we don't need to do views yet, but we will next week for sure. And then these views, I'll just show you how they work a little bit. You just click on them and it kind of takes over your ribbon menu when you're in that view. This one is considered the parent. So like if you click on them, sometimes I just click on them and right click and go to this edit view. But really, if you want to, click and point, it would just be select the view, select the ribbon menu, edit view. and it will pull up that same little dialog box that you have to change the scale. Scale is going to be put in kind of a decimal scale, it looks like, but this is a half scale of my object. And of course, I drew my objects at a kind of a small size anyway. I didn't want them to be huge. I just drew my objects like 4 by 6 by 2, just so they would not be scaled radically to have to fit. But so that's how I enter scale, and then it would go back into this dialog box until I can change everything. So what the hidden lines can be changed to just visible and hidden lines would look like this, which is maybe not how we would want this to show. So, but and then so this what's okay, so this since this is the parent one, it's driving all the changes in these other views too. So I'll just go back to shaded with visible lines right now. And so this is parent views driving that, but you can also click on these views and change them individually too, right? So if I go into like change this view and I wanted to change its view style, right now you see it's coming from parent. So that's what's driving it, but I can change each one of these views independently, their scale, their visibility, some certain things here that are handy to be able to change, especially like in a case like this. I can think of one common thing might be that this particular view might stay shaded. There might be some companies out there that say, we like our isometrics to be shaded with visible lines. And so you would get that. It's not from parent anymore. So now when I change this one to be more like we would edit view here, we would say, just do visible and hidden lines on these and then exit this. So then I can just mix and match this, If my thing's a PDF, it doesn't really matter. I'm not burning toner to like have a shaded. Maybe it helps for clarity's sake if I do but it just depends on company standards. They might still just be, just lines. Anyway, just want to show you that. That works pretty well. You can delete these views too, just like spot click, delete them. Or control and delete or erase. Yes. I think if I just delete this one, I can say delete. Sorry, I got it selected. Just delete it. Sorry. Let's see if I can just delete that. Yes. I can individually delete views. So that works well. What else would I say here? We'll manipulate some of this later. So next week, when we start to actually do some drawings where we're dimensioning using this functionality. So it's way quick though, way quick. You don't have to, and it's the nice thing about too is it's the changes that I would make. So let's do this. I've got this done and documented. Now the changes that I make on this particular part, if I needed to decrease, maybe we'll increase the height, and that will be pretty obvious on our sheet here. So if I'm going to increase this height, maybe I'll just grab a grip here. I can do this. It's kind of blurry on my screen too, actually. So let me zoom in a little bit here. Grab this grip. Maybe I'll go that tall. Okay. Now when I jump over, this should automatically update on my layout sheet. So I'm just going to jump over here. Yeah, see? So the changes I make to the model are going to automatically update on my drawing. So this is a far superior way to draw and to have some cross functionality. And then if my dimensions have been like dimension to these points accurately, they should kind of automatically adjust as I make some adjustments. So maybe they're not perfect. Other programs are a little bit better. CAD still can lose some of that associative nature, but anyway, that shows you that it works. This is my video part 2, which really captures my 3D object assignment. All I really wanted to do was put one object on a sheet. And I think if I just double check my just roll over to, that's all I've done to kind of finish my 3D object assignment. I was just going to pull this over. A minute. Right. 3D object assignment. I've made them all right here. I chose one from the model space, chose it, selected it, dropped those 3 views, kept them as just a visible shaded, and then made a PDF of that. And then I uploaded it. So I will change this assignment. I don't care if you upload the PDF on this one or the table, and the Das Boot is the next one. And so catch you on that one.